When we went over 11.6 in class, we ran out of time before I got through the entire lesson. So here's a video that covers the rest of the lesson. If you need your class notes or the textbook, if you use your class notes, you'll want to turn to page 9, and near the bottom of the page you'll see Objective 5, Graph, Linear, and Constant Functions, and that's where we're going to begin. So a linear function can be defined by f of x equals ax plus b, where a is the same as the slope m. So you can see that looks very much like y equals mx plus b. The function f of x equals b that graphs as a horizontal line is called a constant function. And the domain of any linear function is negative infinity to infinity, while the range of a non-constant function is also negative infinity to infinity. But the range of the constant function is b. F of x equals b. So what that means is, if you have a line that looks like this, both the domain, which are all the x values, and the range, which are all the y values, can be from negative infinity to infinity. But if you have a graph like this, a horizontal graph, you can see that the range, which is y, here's y and here's x, the range only is this point here, which is b, or 0b. So whereas the domain, the x values, still go from negative infinity to infinity. So this is the constant function, and if you just picture it, you'll be able to figure out that the domain is negative infinity to infinity and the range is b. To graph a function, you graph it the same way you do y equals mx plus b. So you can even rewrite it like that. And then you find the point negative 5/4, which we don't usually deal with fourths and you won't have to, but there's approximately negative 5/4, and you go up 1 and over to the right 4 for your next point, and then you draw, except it should be negative 1 and over, so it's really this point. And then you have 2 points and you can draw a line. So your steps are, first you rewrite in y equals mx plus b. Then you do what you know how to do. You plot 0b, and then you use your slope to count up and over or down and over. So I'm going to just say use slope to find the next point. And then you can draw your line. In the second example, f of x equals 4, so that means y equals 4. And we know that when y equals a number, it graphs to a horizontal line, so that's the same as what we just went over on the previous page. So this is a constant function because it's a horizontal line. And the domain is going to be where x is. X can exist from negative infinity to infinity, and you need to use your parentheses for your intervals. But y, your range, is only 4. So on your exam or homework, they give you these squirrely brackets, and you fill in for intervals negative infinity to infinity with parentheses around it. But when it's just one number, you just write the number in. So this is a function. It's a constant function. If you think about it, it passes the vertical line test. There is no vertical line you could draw that crosses more than once. On the first function, what is the domain? And it's a line. It's not vertical or horizontal, so that means both the domain and range are going to be negative infinity to infinity. And it is a function. To get a little more practice with this, go to page 848 in your textbook, and on the left column work problems 10A and B, and the answers are at the bottom of the column. And that's the end of 11.6.